we are an advocating organization. So we have been around for a long time, and I'll talk to you a bit about ORMA. We've been around since the 1920s. The Ontario Restaurant Association and the Ontario Hotel Motel Association were two different entities. They merged in 1999, and today we're the largest provincial hospitality association in Canada. We have about 11,000 businesses, 4,000 members, and our makeup is anyone from the Tim Hortons and McDonald's to North 44 and Cara and Surcorp and independent restaurants, a lot of independent restaurants. Whether you have a place that you're open for just breakfast or a deli or fish and chips, you're members of ours. And the same with hotels, from the Four Seasons to the Holiday Inn to a motel somewhere in the outskirts, right across Ontario. And we're a non-profit, we're volunteer. Everything we do is supporting the industry through government relations. I sit on the board of the Hotel Association of Canada, and at the federal level we look at the broad tourism issues, workforce issues, while at the provincial and municipal we look at the day-to-day stuff that I'm going to talk about here. Right? Our goal is to provide benefit programs to reduce the cost of a hotel or a restaurant, and provide training, inquiries we answer through emails, through telephone calls about any questions about government. We take legislation and we interpret it so people can understand it, and we provide programs and developments, as I will show you in the next slide, and of course the government advocating. We strongly believe that we need to knock on doors at Queen's Park and at City Halls, especially in Toronto. But once the law is the law, we support the industry and educate the industry in obeying the law. We try to change it, and recently in Ontario, let me be honest about it, it's been very tough. It's been very tough for any business, not just our industry. And right now we're working on platforms and with other coalition groups to ensure that somehow we get a relief, and we need a relief in Ontario. So when it comes to the programs that we have, we looked at the key items, and we said, hold it, for organizations to be members of ours, many are members because of the government where we work. A lot of the independents, they're looking for value on the bottom line. So we are leveraging the top corporate members of ours to obtain discounts and savings that also support the independents. Like our food purchasing program, for example, Canada's Wonderland uses it. But we also are able to take that same program and roll it out to a very small operation with savings on it. And it's savings over and above what they usually have from distributors. Our credit card program, I would say to you, without a doubt, guarantee, has the best, lowest fees than anybody else out there across Canada. All right, and we have large hotel chains on it, and we have small ones. The largest program we have is our energy wholesale program, and we have commercial insurance and many others, and there's just a few to mention. Training and development, we were the organizations that started SmartServe some time ago. We started Summerlicious, Winterlicious, and now they run on their own. We started the Ontario Culinary Alliance, which is a local food movement in Ontario just a few years ago. We're very much into retrofits and energy conservations, training and programs. We work with government on the Accessibility for Ontario Disabilities Act, the AODA. Right now we have aligned ourselves with an entity called Align, and we try to support workforce and in the finding of people through untraditional means. And we have meetings right now across Ontario ensuring that we bring people from different groups into the hospitality group. We just rolled out a program on sexual harassment. As you know, it's big, thanks especially to Hollywood. And the Me Too, yeah, well, yeah. Well, that's not, well, Me Too is a little bit different, but this one is an online program, and we're going to put through about 25,000 employees in the hospitality industry within a year. That's our goal. And it's a module that you take on your own. And it seems to be all the hospitality schools in the Greater Toronto area, including Centennial, Ryerson, Seneca now, Humber, have mandated as part of their education system, right? And this is when we did the press conference. There's two ministers sitting beside me. One is the Minister of Labor, Kevin Flynn, and the Minister of Women's Directorate, which are behind the program and the initiatives as per the Premier's direction. And then you have our chair from, I believe, Sports and Entertainment there as well. So you want to open a restaurant? Our presentation is really meant more for getting a good sense of what kind of government rules are there for your operation. There are many that have been in the industry for a long time and might not be aware of what I'm going to present, all right? But if you're thinking and you're an entrepreneur and you say, well, I'm going to open a restaurant, there's a lot of things to consider. A lot of things, of course. Planning on all these things is essential. And when it comes to opening a restaurant, right away, before you do anything, there are government rules around it. And when you operate a restaurant, there are government rules around it. So you can't get away with it, whether you like it or not. But we are an industry that everyone out there, the customer, the public, thinks we are very cozy. We're very comfortable. We're an industry where you go in and eat, breakfast, lunch, dinner, entertain, celebrate, watch a sports game, go to karaoke and sing along and dance, right? And that's what people think of our industry. But there's more to it than that, and especially those of you that operate a restaurant realize the thin margins and the challenges the restaurant has and how many factors are involved behind it for success. And of course, one of the biggest factors is regulations. We are an extremely regulated industry. There's no doubt about it. Why? Well, we have two kinds of individuals that are in our restaurants. One is called employees, the other is called consumers or customers, whatever you want to do. And because they're people, a lot of rules over the years have been moving right across the world, I would say more so in North America lately, that influence the people. And the people is what we have. So we're getting extremely regulated as we move forward for the safety and for the health of those people. Yes. We have about 30 legislations, right? 30 legislations. When you look at the alcohol, when you look at the health, smoke-free, pay equity, waste diversion, garbage waste diversion, environment, you have disabilities, you have Consumer Protection Act, you have cards, that's under consumer, those coupons you have, Corporations Act, business corporations, and so on. Depending where you are, you might even have more onerous municipal laws than someone else on your location. But they're all there, ideally, to make a safer place to work and protect, again, the employees, yourselves, and the customers. But sometimes it's onerous. So it's not that our industry wants to get rid of regulations. What we want is to streamline them and make it easy for the industry and no duplications. Like signages. We have all these signages in your restaurant. After a while, nobody looks at them because there's too many signages. It's like having another binder and someone has to sign this and they have to sign that. we want this to be streamlined and easy so people can look at them, but those are what the law calls for. They have to be posted, and that's a lot for a small business, especially. Again, I'm just giving you a taste of what's out there. To go through each one specifically, we would need to do one seminar just for that. But I'll cover as much as I can. So, license and permits. Before you open a restaurant, you need of course, a business license. You need a zoning license. You need a building permit. You need a health inspection, and you need your alcohol one, right? That's a lot of waiting and be patient, and they don't come easy, by the way, because if one doesn't come through, if your building permit comes through and your health doesn't come in, alcohol doesn't come through. So about a year ago, our organization met with the Mayor of Toronto, John Tory, and the Minister of Economic Development, and we had a good success out of that. There is a portal under a service website run by federal government. Ontario government is in it as well. That we created a one-stop shop. So instead of doing all these owners of any of you that open a restaurant, now all you need to do is to go through that site, and this site will walk you through basically and ask you for questions and helps you accelerate the opening of a restaurant. It's not out there yet. This is as fresh as it is, and we haven't publicized it. The government hasn't publicized it because we want to get the bugs out. But I would say to you, if it works, you will see a major announcement out there, and not only for Toronto, where it will be tried first, but right across Ontario. So you go through, you click the site, and it'll walk you through exactly what you need, and you get everything in one stop online.
It's going to be announced.
It will be announced. We're waiting for a couple more months because the government wants to look good when the announcement does it.
New government.
Yeah, but you actually can go on that site now and walk
It's
through a restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah. We just don't want to advertise it because they want to go soft, I guess.
Okay,
And these are some of the questions that basically walk you through and ask for information. And it also educates you what you really need to look at before you open the restaurant. And our organization will work with them to make this happen. It makes life easier, let me tell you. And technology, of course, helps. Technology sometimes is the best thing that's happened to us, whether we like it or not. So there's some inspections and audits that you running a restaurant have to open your door to, and it starts with the provincial CFIA inspection about accuracy in menus, and I'll talk about that. Of course, the alcohol gaming has regular inspections in any licensed place. There's about 17,500 licenses in Ontario, different concepts, banquet halls, hotels, restaurants, and they go through inspections. We'll cover that. There are Ministry of Labor inspections on the Employment Standard Act and about the safety or the Ontario Health and Safety Act. WSIB might come in depending on any employee issue that are needed. Environment, you have pay equity, the two blitzes, we'll cover that. Of course, you have Ontario Human Rights Code, and they've been in the news recently. I met with the commissioner about a year ago when this uniforms was on the hot news, right? And they concentrate on it for specific restaurants. You have health inspections at the municipal, fire inspectors, building codes. There's certain patio standards that need to be followed, and environment, and we'll cover that as well. So first of all, a bit of a municipal. There are rules about a patio. You cannot just open a patio without any standards governed by the Municipality Act, all right? And even the awning has specific standards you need to follow. Most of the time, your
your architect or your designer that are there will look after all that. But as a restaurant owner or a future restaurant owner, you need to be aware that this is life. The size of the patio, the type of heaters, backflow preventers for water so it doesn't go back. Toronto, City of Toronto has standards for that. The grease trap interceptor, it's under the Canadian Standard Act, and you know what size it is based on your operation, and the law just came in about a year ago in the City of Toronto. Municipal laws do vary from municipality to municipality. There are signage laws, how many signages, how big they are, depending on your location, whether you're on the highway or you're on the street. And if you have a nightclub, you need what used to call bouncer. Now it's a certified licensed security guard, really, and it falls under a provincial ministry. I know downtown in the entertainment district in Toronto, it's something that all those clubs need to have by law. Waste and recycling, depending, I guess, on the municipality, you might have a blue box, you might not. Who picks them up, and the type of color bags that are there, and where does your food go? You know, there used to be a time when, before mad cow disease, that just about every kitchen or many kitchens had a place where the farmer used to come in and pick up the organic food. And now, you know, many don't want to do that. So provincially, there is a law coming on that. That would be zero food waste. Doesn't mean you cannot throw food away, but whoever picks it up would have to do something with it. So first of all, the protocol is to charities, and there are more systems coming in place. Secondly, that it will go to animals, and thirdly, whoever picks it up, it will end up going to be made into energy or fertilizer. But there's a lot. Why? Because they don't want any more debris into sites. There's not enough land sites anywhere, I guess, and it's too expensive for them. Food premises inspections. I know there are courses on that, and that's your local health inspector coming into your restaurant and looking at your best practices of food handling. Do your people handle it right? Your temperature where the food is stored? Are they prone to contamination? And everything around what would infect food. Wash your hands would be part of it, of course. Pests, and there is a new health code coming in July 1st, which addresses the signage. You know, Toronto has the Dine Safe. There's about 6 public health units in Ontario that don't have it. They will have to have it, and they will be posted online for the consumer to look at it. I mentioned earlier about a provincial, it comes from the agriculture sector of MAFRA, that there is an inspection, called a health inspection, but they relaxed it a bit for those restaurants that cure meats, like salamis, which is a big trend today, or prosciutto, for example. If you make a lot of it, it's 25% of your total, and you're actually selling a lot of it outside your restaurant, then you basically fall under that inspection. And not too many people are aware with it. When they open a deli, then they find out later. A big one that comes and goes depending on blitzes sometimes is truth in labeling. As we know, every package we buy from the grocery store, anything that has food in it or beverage, even this has a code that tells you what's in it, right? Now in the restaurant, you basically serve food on a plate, and there's nothing, you can't put a label on it with what's in there. It's impossible and inappropriate. But there are rules around how and what kind of food should be in how you advertise it, whether it's outside your restaurant, external advertising, or even on your menu. So it is to try to drive to the consumer that what you're saying and what you're promoting and what you're serving is exactly the same, all right? And any misrepresentation can be, can come with a penalty. Sometimes it happens because consumers call in and they report it, and sometimes it happens because they would go out on a blitz in a specific area and start inspecting restaurants' menus. So what they're looking for, and what the most common misleading claims are: place of origin, quantity, method of preparation, substitution, quality, and nutrition and diet. For example, if you say on your menu or on your advertisement, you have Nova Scotian lobster, but the lobster is not from Nova Scotia, that means you lie, all right? But it's okay to have, so Hawaiian pineapple will fall the same. If you say it's Hawaiian pineapple, it better come from Hawaii. But Hawaiian pizza is okay, because that's just a general term. Some of it is common sense, but you'd be surprised how many restaurants get challenged with these inspections. Often, very often, all right?
Or Beijing duck.
Yeah, Peking duck comes from Peking. You know, and I guess it's to ensure there's clarity in it. So there's some substitution, for example. If you say it's orange juice, right? Is it orange drink like powder stuff, or is it really orange juice? Crab salad, or is it that fish that you put in the sushi sometimes, right? Veal, sometimes they say it's veal, but you serve pork. I'm not sure why, all right? Maple, this is very common. You see on the menu maple syrup, but then you serve table syrup. It could be in the recipe. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's on your pancake, on the table on it, all right? Butter, margarine, and you can probably create a bigger list than that. Quantity, I think that's pretty standard here. Don't put less than what you're saying or advertise on it, simple. And I do see photos sometimes of a picture on the menu even that has, say, 3 eggs, 3 bacon, and when you receive it, it might be only 2 eggs or two bacon, not 3 slices of bacon. It happens a lot, and sometimes it's unintentional, but sometimes it is intentional. If you do intentional, take another photograph and serve it right. Sometimes when you serve the word large or medium, right, and you expect a large home fries on your plate, better be large. I think just to the common eye means a big plate, not a 2-ounce little potatoes under it, right? Quality, that's very commonly always not followed. When you say fresh, it's fresh. If you say it's fresh spinach, it doesn't mean frozen spinach. Simple as that. And sometimes it's pretty easy to just determine exactly what it is. And sometimes the eggs, you know, if they say grade A, grade B, AAA beef versus AA beef, or no rating at all. Method of preparation, something very, very common, because when you write a menu and you put the descriptors, you know, sometimes you have to be creative and you put homemade. Well, it's not homemade if you just open a sauce with a can opener and put it on your plate, all right? You say barbecue meats, it means barbecue meats. It doesn't mean pan fried. And nutrition and diet, don't have some claims on your menu that this reduces blood pressure, that this reduces diabetes, or this is an what do you call it, superfoods with antitoxins, right? You know, be very careful on how you describe that, because it can come back and haunt you. And the worst thing with this kind of inspection sometimes it's not that inspection, even the penalty that you pay for it. The worst part about it is your restaurant's name is in the news, all right? And that is more of a loss and reputation than the money you pay for penalties.
And no MSG. A lot of Chinese restaurants, they claim they have
Well,
no
that-
MSG.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they use chicken powder or
That's a
MSG
good,
is
that's a
in
good
the
example.
plate.
That's a good example. In the bar sometimes, you know, you might say absolute vodka, right? And then you go in and use the regular bar stuff that might cost $3 less, whatever. Champagne, of course, is an example as well. You know, if you look at the regional stuff, Champagne, true Champagne name only comes from Champagne, the province of Champagne region in France. But if you open a cold duck from Niagara, it doesn't mean it's Champagne, it's sparkling, right? And that is always positive. So really, the somebody's make sure that all the statements are true to what it is. Yeah. Fresh strawberries is fresh strawberries. It's not frozen strawberries. Sometimes frozen strawberries might taste better. That's not the point. Music rights. Those of you who have a restaurant, you probably say, "Oh my God, why do I have to pay these guys?" You know, but there's two groups. One is SOCAN, which is the Society of Composers, the authors, the ones that publish, that write the songs. I'm talking about big songs now out there. Bob Dylan and all these guys, right? And then Resound, which is the performers, the singers themselves, the artists. And they represent those groups. And they, in turn, through federal government, the Copyright of Canada, have permission to charge fees to anyone that plays their song, whether they wrote it or they're singing. And they have two different formulas. SOCAN charges you per concert. If it's telephone music on hold, if it's background music, karaoke bar music, right? I have to keep saying karaoke here. And hotel, motel, right? And Resound charges you by the amount of seats you have and how many days you're open, and there's a corresponding calculator that you calculate that. And this was a big mess a few years ago because they came out of nowhere and they had a very marginal fee and they increased it to thousands of dollars out of nowhere on it through the Copyright of Canada on it. And the whole industry was confused because we have SOCAN and now Resound. What's the difference now? Who's taking our money, our hard-earned money? And that's how the industry looks at it. And it's true.
Yeah, I also just learned from a company who gave away the TV box.
Oh, yeah.
They mentioned that you cannot just buy a TV and then put a TV station on,
Right.
like in your commercial space, right?
right.
So even CP24, you cannot do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So you have to get special license for commercial use.
It's amazing how much work the federal government is going through this music. At one point, they wanted to charge the hotels for any time a guest would open the TV on. And you know when you got music coming in through your channel, right? And so you say, why? When Resound came in a few years ago, Vancouver, the Rogers Stadium in Vancouver, stopped playing the hockey song by stopping Tom Connors, so they don't pay Canadian royalties. They were so pissed off, Parma and Vijay. But what they've done now, internationally, they all got together, all the countries, and everyone now has the rights for other songs, whether they're published or by other foreign artists. Can't get away with it. Smoke-free Ontario, I'm not going to dwell a lot. There was a time where restaurants, pool halls, you could smoke anywhere, and many did not do as well after that Smoking Act. It might be the right thing, but the whole world has changed, as we know. Our association actually, probably one of the biggest fouls we had was the smoking thing some years ago on it. And it was right across Ontario with pool halls and pubs, and recently, of course, patios you can't smoke. Quebec, France, Russia even now. You know, it's just again, it's back to people, and we have, our product is people.